hello, and welcome to the RobRant Podcast. I'm Beck.
And I am Reece.
And today we've got a very special podcast. It is our second episode, and we are going to be talking about our trip to Malawi, which I believe we briefly mentioned in our first podcast. So, what happened? What happened, Reece? As far as you're concerned.
Bro, everything happened.
Everything
Literally.
Nothing was normal about this trip whatsoever.
Nothing was normal. Like, first off, we were there for a month. And so, how do we start it off? So, we essentially got there through your link. Who was it?
Alright, so I was working at my old job in a primary school in which we have what's called a play therapist, a woman who does like therapy for the children. And she's just had the maddest life that I've ever heard of. She has been to Chernobyl. She has been to every single continent helping people across the world. And has had just a crazy life in general. And one day I just said to her, yo, I want to do that. And she fully just said to me, how do you feel about Malawi? And I was like, what about Malawi? It's like, do you want to go work in a school there? I was like, fuck yeah, I want to go work in a school there. And at the same time, I'm not as brave as her. I didn't want to go by myself. So I remember I called up Reece and was like, Reece, do you want to go to Malawi? And I remember your response was just...
Yes.
Yeah.
Why not? Honestly,
Why?
Always wanted to go to the motherland as well, you know. So.
so basically, about like a month later, we were packing our bags to go to Malawi. I think, right?
Yeah.
And I remember meeting you at the airport. You were very classically late.
As per usual.
so I got to sit in the Wetherspoons and have a drink for a while. And then there was like our first mistake, which was we were both overweight on...
Okay. You were overweight.
I was overweight on our bags and so on.
By 5 kilograms.
By 5 kilograms. Wait, we haven't introduced. By the way, this podcast is special. We've got our in-house producer here today. He's very shy, but he is. Yo. This is our in-house producer.
His name is Yo.
He is a critical part of the team, and we are very, very grateful to have him. Would you want to say a couple of words, Dom?
No, I'm just very grateful to be here.
He's just
very grateful to be here.
He's just very grateful to be here. And we're talking, our bags were overweight, Reece, but my bag was
Your bag was overweight by 5 kilograms, so we had to do that embarrassing swap of like literally. So imagine the queue's like 7 people long, and we're just there holding up the queue as we're like taking out everything from Beck's bag and putting it into mine, and like we're going through the most embarrassing things and stuff like that. I
remember one of my stupidest mistakes for this trip is I decided to move my first aid kit from my bag to my hand luggage. Now, little known fact, when you go to an African country, generally speaking, it is because of the tragic situation with AIDS over there, you bring your own needles. So, like, both of us had our own first aid kit where we brought our own needles and so on. I made the mistake of putting this in my hand luggage. So for the 2 flights and 3 different countries we jumped in, I had to get searched every single time to try and explain to every single security officer that met why I had needles in my hand luggage. And they somehow just allowed it every single time, which I was amazed about.
It's good that they understand, to be honest. They understood.
It made it an absolute pain to get there.
But
our flight was pretty nice. I can't really rate Air Ethiopia enough, to be honest.
Honestly, the best airline, it tops Virgin and it tops British Airways by a mile. Incredible. The leg room is the only downfall. And I'm a short guy, so you know.
Yeah, leg room was bad, but to be fair, the movies were incredible.
Yes, honestly.
We had all 3 Lord of the Rings were available. We had, what one movie did we watch?
The one with Tom Hardy.
Mad Max, Fury
Mad
Road.
Max, yeah.
We watched that in sync on our 2 little computers, which was 2 little screens, which was like a bitch to
also another L you took on the flight there. So your TV wasn't working.
My TV wasn't working.
So you had to share mine for the first part of the flight.
And then we realised if we just asked the woman, she could just turn it off and on again, and it'll all be fine. It'll all be alright.
So many L's.
But we, what do you call it? We first of all ended up, on our first flight, we had to connect in Ethiopia, which the airport there was...
lush, incredible, like literally just marble everywhere, and the shops are like just filled with like glitter and gold. It's absolutely amazing, to be honest, and it's the most. Would you say it's like the most multi-ethnic like airport like you could probably see in your life? Like you would think that Ethiopia, wait, cut this.
Now the airport was kind of half airport, half like Turkish bazaar with loads of tiny little shops, and they had all sorts of people from all over the world. It was the most like crazy thing that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then we had I had sunbeds as well, which for an airport, like why on earth do British airports not have sunbeds?
Honestly.
I do not really understand whatsoever.
Pretty comfortable as well, to be honest.
Pretty comfortable. So we waited in Ethiopia for about 4 hours. We got on another flight, and then we just as we're getting on the flight, they just announced, oh, by the way, you're going to do a quick stop off in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Randomly,
which I honestly, like, as a history student, am terrified of the Democratic Republic of Congo. This is a place that has had 2 genocides in our time, and is currently dealing with an Ebola crisis, and has got all these things going on for it. We saw, what was the plane we saw?
Oh, the not the EU plane, the
United Nations.
United Nations plane.
We saw United Nations planes, and we saw a bunch of peacekeeping soldiers on the platform. And I was just there, like, I feel like you had the option to get off the plane, but I was like, nope, not touching down here. I am okay. It is a scary place to be honest.
I'm gonna chill here and eat my plane food.
so we chilled on the airplane for a while, and then we
got heading off, to be honest.
Then we got heading off to Malawi, which was beautiful.
Honestly, the moment you step off as well, it's like any typical holiday, you know, when you go off to like America or like the Caribbean, you like exit the plane and you just hit with this incredible, intense heat out of nowhere. And then what do you hear? That buzzing of the mosquito around your ears. Nah, but it was an incredible experience, just even from landing and like getting off the plane, you know. And then
to be fair, but also our planes were pretty interesting. You've never seen more nuns in a closed,
of course,
in a closed packed space. We had nothing but Christian missionaries.
Yeah, I had 3 people try to convert me, to be honest, on the way there. So,
they were all lovely.
They were all amazing, honestly.
They were all lovely. So we land in Malawi, and we meet our very interesting cab driver.
Yes.
Who is an absolute legend, to be honest. I really enjoyed him.
Sorry, can we also mention the fact that before we even entered the country, when we got to the security gate, like I got interviewed. They asked for my fingerprints. They took a picture of me, and then Beck just flew through the gates. They asked him one question, he flew through the gates. And it was that.
I know. Even in Malawi, racism is
exactly
wide and welcome. But it was really weird. They fully just let me in. I had to pay for my visa, and that was it. Yet I was there waiting on the other side for you for ages.
Honestly, it took so long for me to get through.
Like, were they just confused why you were turning up?
I'm like, I'm here to help.
Well, that's pretty good. So we
we met our cab driver.
Which, you know what?
Clifton, my guy. My guy. What a guy.
What a cool individual he was.
First off, he is a hardcore fan of DMX.
Like a real hardcore fan of DMX.
My guy loves DMX. He listens to DMX like it's like opera. Taps his knee and everything. He enjoys that stuff.
Yeah, like the journey from the airport in the long way to our hotel in Nkota, it was so hard to pronounce.
Yeah, honestly.
Anyway, it was 4.5 hours long, and he only had the one CD, and it was DMX.
DMX.
So for the first hour, we're there just enjoying ourselves, going, X, go on, give it to you.
What?
Go on, give it to you. And about 2 hours into it, we're getting pretty bored of DMX.
Exactly.
But there's a certain point, about 3 hours in, where you start to love DMX again.
Of course, yeah. It's a concept flow of DMX.
Well, we had, what you call it, in the long way, we had the children selling rats on a stick.
Yeah, raw rats.
Raw rats on a stick,
yeah,
which
was quite interesting.
Don't know, Dom, would you like to try some raw rats on a stick? What do you reckon?
I'm good personally.
Not even with the
Was it nice?
you know?
We didn't try it.
Okay.
To be honest.
Understandable.
We sort of waved them off when they came to the car, surprisingly. Like, I'm all for getting involved in the culture and whatnot.
Yeah. I don't think they actually eat that though. I think they only sell it to tourists, which is interesting.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, someone must be buying it, no?
Yeah, definitely.
Raw rats on a stick.
Damn. But yeah, like even the journey on the way to the hotel itself, we went down so many narrow side roads. Like, jeez, man.
Yeah, to be fair to Clifton, he wants to give us like a proper experience
Of Malawi and like even like the rural culture over there.
So he was
As
pointing
well
out
as the city life.
Yeah, so he was pointing out the plants. He was pointing out the different.
Yeah, like baobab trees, like like one of the biggest trees in the world. Which elephants love to play with, by the way. Fun fact.
Here we go. And also, fields of tobacco. That was an interesting one as well.
Yes.
We just saw fields and fields of tobacco, which I'd never seen. Which I guess is kind of sad that that's one of the most profitable things.
True.
That they can grow out there, but
exactly. But I guess they make a living out of that, a heavy living. I mean, look at tobacco. Tobacco is like one of the most sold substances, like. Worldwide, easy 100%, you know. So they're making a killing off that. But yeah. So once we, how long did it take us for us to get to the hotel?
It took us about 4.5 hours, and even from landing, I already learned that the term for a white person is Nzungu because I heard it every single.
Nzungu, yeah.
I heard the term Nzungu maybe 20 times
20
a
times.
day at least.
Probably
There's
not more,
always
to be honest.
Nzungu, give me money.
Always touching your skin.
I know. I was very popular. They like.
Yeah. And then they got to the point where they called me the black Mzungu because I
Yeah.
spoke English.
This guy so the local language in Malawi is Chichewa, and one of the local guides that was showing us around, a guy tried to speak Chichewa to Reece, and the guy just stopped and was like, "No, he is a black Nzungu." Which is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Absolutely hilarious.
But say what you like, the guy understood the situation like that.
Honestly, my man. They know how to banter in Malawi, to be honest. I give them that. But
What is a Nzungu?
White person.
A white person.
So
So Nzungu means white person.
It means like it was like an old term for like a shade or a ghost, which they had from back in the day. they understandably viewed white people as demons come to ruin everything.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
As a British colony, you can kind of get it.
100%.
Why they would be very suspicious of the white man.
Yeah, they were still very welcoming.
They were very, they were the loveliest people.
100% the nicest people I've ever met. Like ever.
Like if you want to go to a place and actually just talk to locals and
you don't even have to start the conversation. They'll come to you. They'll be like, "Is everything okay?" Like start conversations. Talk about the
start talking about life problems.
Exactly.
Straight up.
Exactly. Just to have someone to speak to, you know, which was amazing.
Which was really nice to be honest.
But yeah, like so when we first got there to the hotel, finally, we realized that, so we were staying on like this sort of beach resort sort of thing. Well, not really beach, safari beach resort sort of thing. And like we have different chalets right opposite the beach, which was incredible.
Which there was just us there, like
literally
just us there for like 90% of the time that we were staying.
Pretty much, yeah.
And we had a private beach to ourselves, which was just so amazing.
Incredible.
But
a volley pool.
Wait, it was private, except for every couple of weeks, which we talked about Karonga. Do you remember Karonga? So Karonga was a white man from England, his English name was Martin, but in Africa he's Karonga. And every week or so, me and Reece would just see Karonga show up with a different Malawi lady to his chalet, and I guess this is the place that he brings the girls to impress them or something.
His layer.
I just love that. He's Martin turned Karonga.
Oh my guy. We met many characters there. I'm not gonna lie, I was like Springfield at one point.
Oh, he refused to talk to us, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
I wasn't a fan of Karonga, to be honest.
Not at all. But so I'm not gonna lie. So when we first got there and we were introduced to our rooms, you had a pretty like nice room, to be honest. It was comfortable, it was sweet, no cockroaches. We get to my room now. Swarming with cockroaches. I'm not gonna lie. Oh my god, it's making me itch right now.
Oh, it was pretty bad. Like you fully it's what, like 3 o'clock in the morning, just begged them to change.
Yeah, I literally begged them so hard. Like I think I've realised that I couldn't stand it when like I was opening my my luggage, and then all of a sudden just a fat cockroach landed on my neck, slapped it, and just goo went all around my neck. It was horrible. I was like screamed, "No more! I'm out."
So they moved you to another room, and because again we were the only people there, they had all the options. Like I had to move in the end, not because of cockroaches. I had to move because of like there were bats just chilling in my room.
Just casually,
But like keeping me awake at night. And your room, where you moved to, completely fine.
It was completely fine. But I think the reason why the cockroaches were there was because they left the room there like open all day, so cockroaches just swarmed and bred the whole thing within the whole thing. But and then we got moved to the rooms at the back, which were like luxury. Like we're talking double beds, en suites.
Yeah, I love it. We're the only customers, and they still gave us the cheapest rooms.
Exactly. fully.
It's kind of hilarious, but
it was kind of hilarious, to be honest.
So we spent the first couple of days because school started on a Monday, and we were just chilling for the first 2 days. We saw some monkeys. We journeyed around.
They have monkeys like we have pigeons over here, so you know.
Yeah, and they treat them like we treat pigeons,
but
in a weird way worse. Like I remember seeing maybe a 5-year-old child pick up a rock and throw a curve shot about 30 meters and hit a monkey perfectly in the face.
My man had 99 curve. Ronaldo on his head top.
You can't do that. Like, then there was, do you remember the gigantic spider we met in the class with?
Oh, mate, I tell you that, jeez. Like, this spider, like, literally you can put up the palm of your hand. This spider, the body was exactly the same size as the palm of your hand. And the legs were like your fingers. And me and Beck freaked out when we saw it. But of course, one of the kids laughed at us.
No, wait, just get quiet. I didn't freak out.
Okay,
Reece is terrified of spiders. I was there having to chill in the room. Reece immediately left the room, of course, because he was too terrified to deal with it.
Bro, this thing had fangs.
This thing was a hefty boy indeed.
It was a big boy.
But anyway, you're scared of spiders, and what does the 6-year-old do?
The 6-year-old laughs at me, walks over to the spider, stamps on the spider about 10 times with his bare foot.
He just brushed it off to the side and just stamped it, and it was gone.
Gone. Absolutely gone.
Absolutely.
I take my hat off to... What was his name again? Bernard? No, it wasn't Bernard. There was too many names. Too many names.
Their school, to be fair to them, had classes of like 76. Which here's the thing that as a teacher in this country I'm saying, a class of 76 children in Malawi is easier than a class of 12 children from this country.
100%. They listen and they actually want to learn.
And they're so grateful just to be in a classroom. It's quite sad that kids in this country just don't particularly... They just see it as an obligation. They don't see it as the opportunity that it is.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, and also another thing about that as well, like the fact that it kind of goes well. But each kid had like a very sort of positive sort of Christian name, so you call it. You had Hope. You had what were the other names? You had Hope.
You had Hope. You had Precious. You had.
Oh, you had Doubt, of course.
You had Doubt. Doubt.
Doubt
Doubt is a weird name for a child. Who was a child that was like amazing at football?
What's his name? Not Benad. His name. Oh, I can't remember his name to be honest. But this guy was incredible.
We had Precious. We had all these sorts of names.
all the guys. But yeah,
I can't quite remember. Again, we met a lot of people over there. I feel bad that I can't remember their names.
There was so many names to remember, to be honest.
But
I hope they're not listening.
one day Doubt is gonna grow up and be like, yes, they've name dropped me.
Exactly. Well, he's a world famous footballer, to be honest. Because these guys have the potential to be world famous footballers. We're telling you, honestly. Like that one match that we played with them, to be honest.
Oh yeah, we decided to, despite being 20 years old, 21 years old, we decided, you know what, we'll play for their football team. We'll play against 15-year-olds. And what, like hundreds of people showed up to watch?
Yeah, it was a full-on community game, like.
And it was amazing. We
had cheerleaders.
We played in defence because we're both slow. You're not particularly slow, but compared to like Malawi 15-year-olds.
Oh man, I'm slow. I'm 50 pace right there. Those guys are quick. They're quick.
It was absolutely mad. Every time I touched the ball, the crowd would just cheer and be like, yeah, the Zungu, go, yeah!
Of course.
Which was like hilarious. But
and just keeping up with their fitness levels as well. Like, I tell you what, I almost had like an asthma attack. It was that ridiculous.
We like, to be fair, we won the football game.
Oh yeah, we won, but we just about won.
We won
penalties.
We won on penalties.
We won on penalties.
And I remember we were standing around for the first penalty, and like they were just waiting around. I remember you trying to say like, Beck, don't take a penalty. Don't take a penalty. This is their football game. You're a guest here. You should take a football game. And they were all waiting around. I was like, what are they waiting around for? And eventually one kid just looks at me in his eyes like, go, take it. And I scored the scuffiest penalty of my life.
You know what, fair enough, I'll give it to you.
I scored it.
I'll give it to you, bro.
I scored the penalty.
That's the most important
and we
point.
had like a big kick-off until eventually it came down to the last thing. And we had our captain take a penalty. And there was like a massive fight before even the penalty was taken. Because they were just not happy with like, I don't even know.
There wasn't. It was random. They were just arguing about something. They were arguing about something in Chichewa, and obviously
we don't speak
Chichewa.
So we understand Mulabunji, which is like hello,
and Tilabuino, which is goodbye or something.
Tilabuino is like I'm good, thank you, or something.
Yeah.
It's just a great
I'm sorry
I'm sorry for the Malawi.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm butchering your language.
I'm sorry that we spent a month there, and those are the 2 words we remember.
Exactly. I'm sorry. But yeah, we won at the end, and we had a nice little send off as well.
Exactly, we had the captain of the team, Mponda, which he was incredible.
My guy was a beast, you know.
He was like as a football fan, for a captain to be a left back as admirable as it is, you know. Honestly. He was just an absolute beast, and he led the team. And even though this is a 14-year-old, I felt like I was following this guy, that I was ready to follow him into anything.
100%.
He was winning. He was in the middle of the fight before he took his penalty, and he just calmly walked up and scored the winning one, which is like really admirable, to be fair.
And my guy was huge as well. He looks like he eats the gym. Honestly, and he's only 15. Like, he had biceps for days. But yeah, like
exactly. Football teams honestly should do some scouting in Malawi. Like,
honestly,
the talent that we saw was incredible. I just remember the name of the child who
the amazing footballer.
Witness.
That's another positive name for you.
Witness.
Witness.
We did like a little tournament World Cup thing. Yeah. In which Witness was just overpowered.
Way too
It was ridiculous. He was there pulling up like multiple bicycles and
5-star skills and all of that stuff. Like, my guy was on it. He was on it. But honestly, Arsene Wenger, get yourself to Malawi.
I mean, you're like 10 years late. Arsene
Wenger. Sorry, my bad.
We've been through 2 managers since then. But their sport was absolutely amazing.
Absolutely incredible to me.
Well, how did you find, because I'm someone who teaches normally, that's kind of my day job. How did you find teaching?
So I'm not going to lie, at first I was stressing because I'm like, I was thinking like, what if I teach them the wrong thing? What if I'm going the wrong way about it, to be honest? But actually being in the zone and in the moment, it was really, really fun, to be honest. And it's like providing some sort of value to these children. And the fact that they're not just learning from the syllabus, they're learning from you speaking in general. They're learning English from you speaking. They're learning like about the culture. They're getting to know you. It's like a nice bonding experience, to be honest.
It's kind of sad that is the business language of the world. It's English because
unfortunately, yeah.
Because that's what we do.
Everyone speaks, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, exactly.
But by purely by just them talking to us, they learn better their English. They learn
100%.
how to absolutely understand everything.
Yeah, you know.
So it was a positive experience.
And also, I guess like for me as well, like revisiting the basics of English and maths was really, really helpful. Like there is some stuff which they go into serious detail when it comes to English and teaching English in general. And of course, because English is our first language, we sort of like overlook that, and it's like, okay, whatever, we know that anyway. But just understanding the fundamentals in general was really interesting.
And to be honest, the fact that kids as young as 7 are somehow know English just fluently,
yeah,
is a pretty incredible. Like, fair play to that school. They've somehow given their children such great opportunities just by
amazing opportunities. Wasn't it a private school as well, to be honest?
It was a private school. We will get into.
Yeah, of course.
We will get into that.
That's
later,
a story for later on.
Whatever. So let's give a mention to our journey up Mount Sani, which was probably one of my favourite days when we were there.
Very treacherous, I'm not gonna lie. Like, so first of all, we started the walk from the hotel. And so basically with the hotel, there's like 2 sides of the hotel. There's one side which goes towards the school, and there's another side which goes towards the mountain. And on the mountain side, you have to climb over these massive rocks over the sea. So it's me, Beck, and our
one of the teachers from the school. But just to like back up about this teacher, like he has lived in the shadow of this mountain. He has lived there his entire life, next to a mountain that is climbable in 4 hours, and he never thought to try and climb it. Which I don't mean that as an insult to him. I guess it's just like a culture thing where you don't really go beyond where you need to.
No, of course. Like there are plenty of places around where you live right now, which you've probably never explored. You know, which look cool to.
But I guess if maybe. I don't know how to describe it. If I had a mountain on my doorstep...
No, fair enough, you would be willing to climb it.
I would climb it. But so I'm actually kind of glad that's one of the nice things that we could experience is we could give... The way, he said this to us. He said that we made him feel like a tourist of his own country, that we took him up a mountain.
Beautiful words within itself, to be honest. And like even the other trips as well, like he was so grateful for us being in Malawi and us giving him that experience of like just... going on boats, which we'll mention later, of course.
Wait, quick side note, to be honest. Like, about... You remember he talked about the jealousy of everyone else and why he didn't want... Yeah. So, he mentioned how he didn't want anyone to know that he had gone up a mountain and done all this fun stuff with it, because apparently the Malawi people are very jealous and very, like...
They're very jealous, and they're very superstitious, basically, the people in Malawi. So, of course... They believe a lot in witchcraft, so they believe that once someone is jealous of you, they're going to perform witchcraft on you. Which, to be fair, if you brought up in the culture within that, and that's all you know, you're going to believe that, of course.
That's just how it goes.
Exactly. So like he was fearful of that.
No, he was honestly terrified that we would mention and that he would be known as the person hanging out with us, and they would wonder why is this person so lucky? Why has this person had such a fun experience because of us coming to visit? So it was quite sad to think that he didn't want to tell anyone that he had done all these fun experiences because he's worried that they would try and ruin their life for him.
100%. Very, very sad. But nonetheless, he climbed the mountain and he was very grateful for that, to be honest. And so the journey. So as we climbed over these rocks to get to the sort of side part of the mountain, we literally individually met up with random children that were just chilling and playing around in the fields. Like at first we met up with like 2, I think it was. and they all just decided to follow us up this mountain.
Like,
No,
not even that, to be fair. The teacher who was with us fully just spoke to the kids that we planned to climb the mountain. And their general response, they didn't speak English at all, but they said to him basically, okay, follow us. These kids who are 4, 5, 6 of age, they just climb this mountain on the regular, just for funsies of it.
Yeah, this is the band.
they just decided to bring us up, and oh my, these children.
They're warriors. I tell you, they're warriors, bro. Like, honestly, like, how they were overall. So it started off with like 2, and then it got to like 4, and then it got to like 7 at the end. And then as we're climbing this mountain now, the kids are telling us these different plant species and like these different things to watch out for. There was that one plant. What was that plant again?
The plant was it's called buffalo seed.
That's the one. And literally, if you even slightly brush against this plant, best believe you are itching for days.
No, not even just itching. The way they described it to us, it would be hours of agony.
Hours
of pain, because they have tiny little hairs. If you brush onto it, it will cause you pain for hours and hours and hours. So they were pointing it out to us left, right, and centre, which thank God we ran into this children, to be honest.
Because knowing me, if they didn't say,
I would have been like, cool, this is interesting.
Exactly.
Because it looks like a gigantic furry seed, which
it looks amazing, to be honest.
but it was like scary at the same time that this tiny little seed could do that to you. Anyway, I'm glad they were there. But these children were fearless. They were.
You need another word. Honestly, crazy.
To get up this mountain, there was like we learned afterwards there was a direct path up, but we didn't go that way, of course.
No.
We didn't go the easy. We didn't even know about the easy route beforehand. But these children took us up a route where we had to take a long way. But 2 of the kids went up a shortcut, and the shortcut was what, like?
It was like a massive rock.
A massive vertical, like
it's
80-degree rock.
It's a ridiculous rock which you literally have to climb up with your hands and knees. You're virtually basically rock climbing, and these guys are doing it without a harness.
They looked like those, you know when you see those mountain goats that can climb someone. They were incredible that they could somehow scale these things.
Yeah.
And I've fully known if we tried to climb up it, we would have died.
Oh, 100%.
There was no, but they did it without even a care. And again, these are children who are 4, 5, 6, 7 who are capable of
and they
that.
do this every single day. Like, let me tell you something. These parkour kids in London, like these kids in Malawi. These parkour kids in London have nothing on these Malawi kids. Like,
exactly. They were climbing, and just for the sake of it, it's just second nature to them that they climb up these mountains. This mountain.
Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely insane.
Anyway,
so yeah, as we got to near to the top of the mountain, like I'm not gonna lie, the whole journey was worth it, because at the top of the mountain there's this massive sort of gate, and it's guarded by one singular man.
One singular man who his entire life, all he does is he just hangs out at the top of the mountain. And I should give some context as to why. So on the top of the mountain, they have this gigantic, satellite tower. Is that it? And his job is to guard that satellite tower because it is run by solar panels, and solar panels are worth more than like oil in this country.
It's worth
so on.
Big money.
So he lives his entire life in a tiny, maybe 2 meter by 1 meter, like
room.
Concrete box. Just to guard these towers, and he just really just sits up, and we just got up there, and we just get him, and he's just there sitting there watching the view.
Yeah, that's pretty much his life.
And the view, to be fair to him, was amazing. It is honestly one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. The view from up there.
Incredible, like vast lands of greenery, the ocean, lake everywhere.
Lake Malawi as well, but like there was next to him, he was just sitting in the shade of. Like, I don't really know how to explain it because it doesn't really make scientific sense. When you get to the top of this mountain, there is just a gigantic boulder, maybe the size of maybe 6 people high. This is
Even bigger.
Mount Sani is the name. and you have a huge mountain that took us 4 hours to climb. When you get to the top, there's just this gigantic boulder, which makes no sense that it's there.
And it's just the way how it stands there as well. It's literally like, for example, Roadrunner, one of those cartoons where you see like this massive rock and a tiny little like stand on a tiny little stand. That's literally what it's like.
And it honestly, it should have rolled away.
Oh,
it should have fallen
100%.
years ago.
It looks like if you were to blow it, it would roll down like for miles.
But somehow it is there.
No.
Somehow it is a gigantic circular ball that is just up there.
And us being stupid English tourists, we decided to climb it. Because why not?
I found a gigantic, huge rock of quartz up there as well that I just decided to take down and end up putting in one of my fish tanks. But
Yes.
it was just like crazy, the amount of things you found at the top of this, because why is that rock there? The locals can't explain it either. They said it was something to do with God put it there, just to give people indications of where the lake was and whatnot. But I can't really understand it. But honestly, that journey up the mountain was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I can't really explain it otherwise, to be honest.
Honestly, not at all. And just the kids as well were like a massive part of that journey as well. Like the sheer happiness they give out was incredible, and their sort of energy really rubs onto you, and it brightens your day. And some could argue that it brightens your life, to be honest, and that's my cheese done for the day. So
Exactly, that was whole.
Oh, exactly.
But this is what I absolutely loved about Malawi in general. Like, in our country, you don't really realise how many things are just heavily regulated all of the time.
Mm.
We went up that mountain because we saw a mountain and climbed it. We also, I remember one day we were just looking at Google Maps and we saw these tiny little islands. They were called the Sungu Spit that we saw on Google Maps and whatnot. And about 6 hours later, we're on the Sungu Spit.
Because why not?
We just paid some fishermen to just take us to those little tiny islands, and we sit on there.
And chill. Bear in mind, these islands are riddled with snakes and alligators.
Snakes and crocodiles.
Crocodiles, my bad.
But it was just amazing. Like the fact that, again, the people that live locally would never bother. There were people that we met that lived maybe half a mile away from Lake Malawi. This is a lake that is a third the size of the country, and they had never seen it. Half a mile away, and they never thought to go see the biggest thing in the country.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
The whole lake.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Every time I think about that though, like, there are people that live literally not even about half an hour away from the lake, and they've never seen the lake.
They never thought to go visit it.
Never thought to go visit it at all.
Because they're just too busy prioritizing growing what little food they can.
Growing crops, of course.
Growing Insima, which is the local.
It's like Insima, which is cassava. It's made from the cassava plant,
and it's
then turned into pounded yam.
Other African, I think it's Nigeria. They call it like pap.
Pounded yam.
Pap.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Fairs.
But it was just mad. So we went to the Sungu Spit, and we went with one of the people from the hotel and the teacher we went up the mountain for. And it was just kind of hilarious because before we got to the fishermen, like the guy from the hotel specifically told me, okay, you wait here because I'm going to go negotiate a price. But if you come with me, we're going to get the Nzungu price, which means the price we pay to white men to
Jeff Bezos prices.
They full on told me that I had to stay behind, otherwise we're going to get Nzungu priced, which fair play.
No privilege.
Fair play. Like, so we got a better deal out of it anyway. But to be fair, when we talking football earlier, we didn't mention what the guys with the masks and the canes. That like beat.
Oh yeah. So yeah, going back to the football conversation, there was this one football match which we watched instead of played and participated in, and basically, so they don't have sidelines. Their sidelines are basically humans. So they have people use who are there as the sidelines basically. So if the ball goes past them, it's considered a throw-in. And what happens is every time the ball goes near the sideline or near the people, these guys in masks and
these guys in very flamboyant, demon-looking masks and long capes, and they have a big, long wooden stick, and their job is essentially to beat the crowd off the sidelines, so that they make sure that they're not encroaching on the football pitch. Which is just a hilarious concept. I want to understand, how do you get employed as this person? Who decides who is going to be the man with the mask and the cane and the stick beating them back?
There must be some sort of hierarchy there.
How did this even start? Who knows? Who cares? It works
It
though.
works. It works, to be honest. But yeah, that the trip to the Mount Sinai was incredible. Going back to
and the trip to the Sungu Spit as well was absolutely beautiful. But
Yeah,
do you know
and
what was the weirdest journey we went on? You know, the journey to Nkata Bay.
Bro, oh my days, that was the most intense. I almost had a panic attack, you know. So it started off all well, fine and dandy and nice when we got our usual motorcycle ride to the centre of town, which was like half an hour by motorcycle.
Which was lovely, to be fair. The general way we travelled around is we had these two guys. It was like Banda, who was like, I love Banda.
Literally, my man was the craziest, most lovely guy
He
ever.
was there just screaming and...
if Tasmania was a person, it would be this guy.
It'd be this guy.
This guy was
we would just sit around, and fully he would just parade me around like, look at me, I have a Nzungu on my motorcycle. This is great.
Just
And
shouting to his friends.
he would just be so... He's just one of the happiest people I've
Over
ever
the
met
moon.
in my lifetime.
100%.
Anyway, so we wanted to go scuba diving. I've never been. I think you've been before.
Yeah, I've
once,
been
right?
twice. Yeah.
So we decided to go to town, and we had to go to this place. We were in Nkota Kota, but we had to go to a place called Nkata Bay, which is about
6 hours, probably
No,
even
no,
more.
no, no. It was about 2 hours if you drive straight there, or you get a coach straight there. That was not the advice they gave us. They didn't advise us to get a coach there. They advised us to get a minibus and pay some locals because it would be cheap to get back.
So, the minibus is the alternative of like TFL here, by the way.
and bear in mind what we're going to talk about later. This minibus had 8 seats. Had eight. Anyway, we're continuing.
8.
8 seats, okay. So everything we talk about, this is 8-seat minibus.
8.
8, yes. Anyway, we go to town. We find, as we're getting off, we find some people and they're going in Katape. We think, great, we jump in. I make the very, very smart, wise, amazing decision to sit in the front seat. One of the best decisions I made. Reece, however, sat in the middle seat. One of the worst decisions he made on this trip. And we will explain why. So, again, when we get in, this is an 8-seater. There were already...
There were already like 6 people, I would say.
There's about 6 people. So so when we joined in, there were 8 seats. And we figured that would be it.
Yeah.
That would be it. 8 people, 8 seats. That's how normal. That's how people in our country do it.
100%.
You have 1 seat, 1 person sits in it. That's all. That's all it's gonna be.
But the first hour was quite comfortable, actually. You know, like driver was speeding. We topped up for petrol. We stopped for petrol.
We had to get stopped every half an hour
Of
because
course.
the police have to come and check our trucks. Check the van every time. Where you have to unload everything. For some reason, the guys who drove the minibus had several tons worth of grain on the minibus as well, along with the fattest speakers I've ever seen in my life.
Speakers.
He had something that you'd see at festivals, just speakers as tall as you are. In this tiny minibus, again an 8-seater, it's not the biggest minibus in the world.
Thinking about it now, actually, that minibus was moving quick as well. Like, considering that there was 6 people at the time, and the speakers and grain, like that bus was moving quick.
Anyway, there were 6 people and us, which made it 8 people, 8 seats. But we eventually pull over, and a woman and her family get on. There's a woman 3 children.
Yeah.
And that's the first people. So now we're already quite overstocked. We already have like we have 9 people, 3 children, in an 8-person minibus. But we keep on driving. And then we come to the next stop. And a blind man. A blind man, a kid, and another person. So we have about 13 people and 3 children try and get on.
And then
then we go to the next stop. Again, 8-person seats.
2 old ladies come on the bus.
2 old ladies. The poor blind man with one arm has to climb over 2 chairs to get to the back seats. Because he is seen as someone who has to have a less priority than the elderly women, which is quite nice to be fair. But, so we're now about 16 people. We go to the next stop. 2 men and a goat. We're now 18 people in this 8-man minibus.
This is when I'm on the verge of having a panic attack. Like literally, Beck's there, all comfortable.
I'm comfortable because in the front, I'm by the driver. It's me, one other guy, driver. All good. Reece is in the middle of like maybe 8 people on one row.
I can't move.
At one point, we had to get out to piss. We had to go out use the toilet after another round of the police checking everything. And Reece was like, "Can we swap?" I was like, "No." I'm not getting in the back there. That's like a terrible idea. I'm very comfortable with my spot. Honestly, that's the most freaked out I think I've ever seen you, to be honest.
So freaked
We
out.
at this point
I
had 17 people, 3 children, and a goat, all in the 8-person minibus.
I think you can consider a goat as a person now. That's
And you think,
it goes as far to say
exactly,
that.
and you think it would end there. Next stop, 2 more people get on. So what happens? There's physically not enough space for the driver. So the driver is driving, standing up in his minibus, while someone else is in his seat. How is that even possible? All the time we have like Christian missionary rock like singing through it. Oh my god! I mean, it was
torture. Absolute
and again,
torture.
this is about a 2-hour drive, but with the police checks and with the various stops and the people getting on and the people getting off, it took us about 6.5 hours to get to where we wanted to go.
I think the only positive about that journey was the fact that the view, like going across Malawi, was incredible. Like you go from, so where we were, it was mainly around the south. It was like quite dry. But as you go towards the north, it gets greener and greener and greener, and the scenery is incredible. Like just green leaves everywhere, bushes everywhere, massive highlands. It was insane, and the lake just gets bluer as well, to be honest.
Exactly, I mean that's the whole thing. Because the length of the lake is essentially the whole length of the country. All you've got to do is just follow the lake upwards.
Pretty much, yeah.
So you go through these beautiful winding, and I feel like I was there really enjoying this view. You less so because you were you were busy
Bro, I
suffocating.
couldn't even see the view. My view was a goat and 2 old ladies.
You could see the view that was going, but it was still remarkable. And eventually, we somehow realised we reach Nkata Bay, we somehow just see the very place that we're trying to get to. We're like, okay, get us out. We're okay. Please, please let us out. And we go scuba diving. Scuba diving was.
But in general, like getting there in the first place. So you go in the building now, and then as you go in, I swear it's like a different land in this building. The first time I've seen white people in Africa in a long time.
This is the whole thing. You turn into this building and suddenly it is nothing but Nzungus everywhere.
Nzungus everywhere.
Nzungus everywhere. Just drinking, eating popcorn, drinking tea, speaking
petting
in
dogs.
English.
Speaking in English.
And we're like, are we in the same like country that we just
Honestly.
They're all there just having a lovely time, and it's clearly people that are, what's the term, like expatriates, people that used to live in this country decided that Malawi is better than. To be honest, I don't particularly blame them. Like
the freedom there, like they had there, was incredible. Like swim all day, like there was scuba diving. That's pretty much all they did. All day,
we go to this beautiful bay, and to be honest, scuba diving was fine.
I'm not gonna lie, scuba diving, like so. I think that the most interesting thing about scuba diving in general is the whole zero gravity experience.
Exactly. He was there trying to show us the fish, and we just could not care.
Exactly. Like,
We
sick
just-
fish, nice.
Like, whatever. I own a lot of fish.
But to be fair, there was one fish that lives. So this fish lives its entire life upside down.
It's got an upside down catfish, which, by the way, I want to get some of. That looks
100%,
awesome.
literally.
But and there was also there's another weird fish where it's a mother and it has all her babies on her back, and if she feels threatened, she just sucks in all her hundreds of babies into her mouth and just holds it there.
Fairs.
But regardless of that, could not care about the fish. I just wanted to enjoy it.
Like legit, scuba diving feels like you're in the womb again. it's a different experience, I tell you that. So if you have a chance to scuba dive, go for it because it's incredible. But yeah, like going back to the fish actually. So it turns out, so with this upside down fish, if you turn it the right way up, it dies.
Yes, it lives its entire life upside down.
Entire life upside down. So you know, it was a pretty cool experience, that whole thing. And then I'm not gonna lie. So as we finished this whole scuba diving experience, we just wanted to leave because it got a bit weird there, to be honest.
And exactly, we contemplated getting a hotel there, but we were just like, nah, I just want to go. Again, the whole journey, we didn't plan for it to take 6.5 hours for us to get to Nkata Bay just to scuba dive, and now it's like 7 p.m. We got to get back we will get back ASAP.
ASAP.
It just wasn't worth it at this point. So eventually we found out you can just take a coach, and it's cheap. And it's fun. You can just sit on the coach and get back to where we were going. It's really easy. It was really easy. We didn't have to get a tiny little minibus full of 16 people, a goat and 3 children to get there. Oh, it stresses me out even to think about now.
And I'm not gonna lie, the coach back was pretty comfortable. Like really comfortable. In fact.
Yeah, there was good air conditioning. We got from a window someone sell us popcorn for 0.5 of a penny.
Popcorn was good as well, I'll tell you that, man.
So we spent a penny for me and Reece to get a huge bag of popcorn each. 0.5 of a penny. Like, this is the whole thing. I don't understand why things are so cheap there. I don't understand, like, how... I'm not an economics student. How has this worked out where you can pay 0.5 of a penny and get a huge bag of popcorn that will cost you at least £3 here?
Easily.
That will cost you 600 times the amount of money here.
That was quick maths.
Thank you. I do try. That failed A-level was worth it.
Absolutely worth it. Jesus.
But like, to be fair, the journey back was like a lot more comfortable. We were very much glad for it. We had to deal with police checks, whatever.
Yeah.
The funniest thing, you want to tell it or do?
Go ahead, do the honors.
Anyway, so we're sitting in there, and people get on, people get off, and we just look down at one point, and I see this bucket and this bag, and me and Reece just looked down, and this woman who had got on had just had a chicken in a bag in a bucket.
A live chicken.
A live chicken that was just very baffled about its existence right now. Why am I on a coach right now? Why am I in a bag?
Why are there 2 people staring at me?
Why am I in a bucket? And there's just a chicken just
chilling
on the coach beneath the seat.
We already found this out like literally 3 hours into the coach journey.
Which their treatment of like animals is baffling. We saw a man who was on a bike. And he just had the goat, like a goat with 4 legs tied up, just tied to the front of the bike as he's driving.
Casually.
Like that.
This is the
like,
norm for him.
Animal rights people need to get to Malawi quick. That's not how you should treat animals. This is not okay.
Get Peter to Malawi.
It's honestly one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Just like there was just a live chicken. The goat was hilarious too. We eventually got back and we had to get our taxi back, and oh my, that was dodgy.
Dodgy as hell, man.
Dodgy. My mum would not be happy with the situation, but like, would she have been happy for me walking 3 hours to get back to our hotel
at night, and we have no clue where we're going.
We're English, so we have light pollution. So we understand that even in the darkest times, light is still reasonably light.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas in Africa, it is pitch black. It is absolutely like completely pitch black. Like my mum would not be happy with me walking back, but also she would not be happy with this taxi that we chose.
No, not at all, not one bit. So like, once we got off the coach, we sort of were hit with panic. We're like, okay, cool, that was nice. Now how the hell do we get home? So luckily we made this friend on the coach who helped us like get a cab, which was nice of him. However, he helped us get the wrong cab. So we went to this guy now, and this guy first of all saw Beck and Mzungu, and he was like, okay, cool, money.
And he tried to charge us like a ridiculous amount.
Ridiculous price.
It's like £100, which everything in Malawi we're just used to it being cheaper.
Exactly.
And
£100, like
we'll
what?
give you the equivalent of 20 quid. It's like a 10-minute journey for you. Chill out.
Fully.
Like, and we threatened to walk, and then he eventually came. And like, okay, £20. Sure.
Why not?
Alright.
So so we get into the cab now, and my man is going the complete opposite direction, and we're like, sorry, mate, like we live over there, and he's like, no, I know what I'm doing, and so we're like, all right, cool, you do your thing. So he's driving now, and then we get to this petrol station, and then he stops, and then he fills up his tank, and then he just walks off into the distance and starts speaking to one of his friends, and me and Becca are now like Mission Impossible mode, trying to plan our escape. Like, what the hell do we do?
Exactly. I'm fully at this point disconnecting my key. Like, we may be in for a fight here, Reece.
It's like, yeah, I'll go for the neck, you go for the legs.
Do you have the number for the British Embassy? This is not gonna, this is not going well.
So he comes back to the car now, and we're asking him so many questions, and he's giving us the
most vague answers. Is like, oh, I want an escort. I want someone to go with me. I want someone to take us with her. I was like, why? Just drive us to our hotel.
Exactly.
It's so dodgy. To our hotel.
It's so dodgy. We just want to get home, and it's been a long ass day. But yeah, we eventually get to the slip road in which our hotel is near, and this slip road is the bumpiest slip road.
Yeah, I one day when we were getting a motorbike, I nearly, honestly, flew off it.
You almost died.
We got a serious 3 seconds of airtime going down the corner.
Jesus, man, you Tokyo drift around that car park right there. I'll tell you that.
It was incredible. Like, honestly, like I am a fairly chubby dude, but for Malawi standards and for Malawi motorbike standards, I am morbidly obese because this motorbike could not hack me being on it. It could not hack me being on it. So when we went over, the momentum of my weight fully propelled us forward by like about 3 seconds. You also got to realise, I'm 6 foot, which is reasonably tall for...
Yeah, bro, that's tall. Or to me, that's tall. I'm 5'0".
By Malawi standards, I am Peter Crouch, the giant.
Oh yeah, bear in mind, I'm of normal height in Malawi. Like I'm 5'6".
And you're short.
You're
very short.
I'm a pinky. But
he's more of Raheem Sterling of a height.
Fully. So it was nice going to a land where everyone is my height, and Beck is someone who's...
Beck is the man mountain.
Yeah, Beck is the man mountain. Fully. But yeah, so yeah, going back to the Buki story, so the crazy story. So yeah, we get back to the hotel now, and yeah, so once we get back to the hotel, the guy is trying to overcharge us again. And
he was like, "Oh, come on, for the road, it was so dangerous." And like, I just wanted to get. I was like, "Yo, man, we agreed on the price. Just let us through." And I understand. Like, honestly, wherever we went, we tipped heavily because we got like this guy was just so dodgy. And just like the way he was looking at us, that we just honestly, I just wanted to get out. I just wanted to get behind the gate of the hotel and just be safe again, because he's
not one to be dealt with, honestly, at all.
And if you're listening, Mum, I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have taken that risk.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Please forgive. But yeah, and then we got back and I tell you, that was one of the nicest sleeps. Actually, no, I tell you what, it wasn't one of the nicest sleeps because of these flipping the pills that we were taking over there, like the malaria pills.
Like,
Jesus, oh my gosh, they were so bad.
They were awful, but at the same time, like, completely necessary.
Oh no, of course,
like,
of course.
Malaria ain't no joke. Like, we are dealing with coronavirus, and we're probably going to deal with it for years. But credit to people from Africa who have to deal with malaria, who just get it over and over again.
To be fair though, for them it's like literally it was like a common cold. There was Edna, who was one of the members of staff who was working there.
Yeah, but this is the thing. The common cold, where we saw this woman, and she was gone for a couple of days, and she came back after dealing with malaria, and she was maybe 2.5 stone lighter.
Yeah, but they deal with it like it's a common cold. That's why I'm like, wow.
And she was 2.5 days later, back to work, back to a job, doing what you gotta do.
Whereas you get the flu here and you're off for a week.
We don't have that resolve at all.
For not at all, not one bit.
We don't have the ability to deal with that shit.
Yeah, these malaria pills. I'll tell you what. Obviously, if you have a plan to go to Africa or like South America or wherever, you need to take these malaria pills. Take them 100%. However, there are side effects. Like
they are honest. They honestly.
So they were the worst. So my side effects specifically were like intense nightmares, like crazy nightmares, or either crazy nightmares or vivid dreams. Like I had one night where I literally could not sleep at all because of like vivid dreams, like lucid dreams as well, which were insane. So yeah, those are one of the side effects. Beware to go on a very psychedelic, interdimensional experience in your dream. Because
to be fair, I don't know what pills you were taking.
To be fair, I wanted a tangent there.
He took a different medication from me. I took something called Malawi, which is the most common one. Which is if you're going, I recommend taking it. But for me, Malawi just made my fart smell horrendous. And I felt bad for everyone in like a close proximity to me who had to deal with this smell. Because honestly, it was toxic. It was the worst like smell I've ever seen in my life. Ever smelled in my life. And oh my god, I felt so embarrassed.
Yeah, they were that bad that you actually see the farts.
Like you have to take it about 2 weeks before you go just to make sure you don't get malaria. And I was at my workplace in which people fully just couldn't get to. I farted and they were there rushing for the fans, putting their face in front of the fans to make sure they didn't have to smell it. It's not nice.
It's not nice at all.
It's not nice with the freaks and the thing, but
at all.
At the same time, is it preferable to horrible dreams? Maybe.
100%, bro.
Maybe. This is after the 3 weeks of maybe 16 vaccines we had to take for every disease. We had to have 2 for cholera.
Yeah.
2 for cholera,
Yellow
3
fever.
for rabies, typhoid, all these diseases that we had to have, which also. Side note about coronavirus. This is what the world looks like without one vaccine. Vaccinate your children, goddammit. Come on. Sorry. Continue. Ignore me.
Controversial.
Ignore me. I'm sorry.
Vaccinate your children if you want.
No. Vaccinate your children. That's another episode for a podcast. I sure want to talk about vaccinations.
Vaccinations, yeah.
Aren't you glad we didn't get typhoid and cholera when we went to Malawi?
To be fair, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty glad. Yeah.
I'm pretty glad we got.
It would have been an experience, but I'm glad.
Anyway, what should we talk?
So like obviously we had all those trips, but I feel like one of the heights, one of the best trips that we went. Well, the best but not so best trip that we went on was like the trip to.
It was amazing.
It was incredible. It was incredible. However, there were so many downfalls, like on the way to this trip, and on the way back to this trip, and during the trip. So how long did it take? We have to wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning or 3:30 in the morning.
Which is fine.
Which is normal, of course.
In Malawi, during the winter time, it's south of the equator, so it's winter time.
Yeah.
But it also means that we went from summertime in England, where there's like the max amount of sun possible, to Malawi, where it is dark between like from 6 p.m.
6 p.m. all the
to
way to
6
like,
a.m.
Yeah, probably around 6 a.m. sunrise. So yeah, waking up, like literally going to bed when it's dark and waking up when it's dark. It's a surreal experience. So obviously we woke up now and we took the cab to go to Lwande. which was where the national park was.
Which, if you're in Africa, you go on safari. Like you go look at some weird animals. Of course you do.
Of course, giraffes, elephants.
You go see a bunch of animals. You get in their safari trucks. You do all the normal things. That's not our experience.
Yeah, not at all. So like, apart from the long journey there, that was probably one of the best experiences, the best parts. But yeah, we get there now, and then instantly we realise that we don't have a Jeep. Bear in mind, the car that we're in right now is what was the car?
It was like a sedan or something?
A sedan, yeah, a low-down sedan. Complete opposite to a Jeep.
Driven by the guy who took us to the hotel. It wasn't even really a taxi, it was just his mate who had a car.
Exactly.
In which the guy from the hotel just saw it as an opportunity to go on safari, which is fair play, why not?
Yeah, fair play,
like,
rate him for
and
that.
I loved him. Dennis, man.
Yeah.
His name isn't Dennis.
Dennis, we're sorry.
On
Dennis.
the first day, we had to get some help to try and get like our phones connected to 3G so we could contact our family and whatnot. And we misheard him as Dennis. His name is Titus. But for a month, he just went with the name Dennis. Why not?
Because why not? He's like, cool, my name's Dennis now for a month. Nice. So as we get to this national park now, we're in the sedan. And it's cool. We see monkeys, we see elephants at the beginning. And then we see, what else? We see hyenas. Did we see
hyenas? We saw monkeys. We saw all
hippos.
sorts.
We saw all sorts. However, in the middle of the trip, that's when we started seeing the madness. That's what we're going to call it. So as we're driving, we're getting around these massive rocks. And the rocks are literally scraping the bottom of the car off as we go over
Every
them.
jump, we feel like, oh, that sounds expensive.
It's so expensive.
Really expensive.
You just hear the sound of scraping and crunching metal underneath your feet. And just literally, throughout this whole journey, the cab driver is smiling through it. That's how happy people...
They're so generous, they're so just kind, it's just so just happy to get it done. But we're fully there, in which, again, I paid for a Jeep. But the Jeep never came. We assumed that when we drove into the park in our cab, we'd be driving to wherever the Jeep was. No, we didn't realise that our tiny little sedan was going to do the whole journey through mud and whatnot by itself.
To be fair to the car though, it made it. It did its job.
It did make it. Eventually, eventually. You forget the point where we had to push it out of ditches.
Yeah, true.
Next to hippopotamuses. We had to somehow push it. We had to push start it in the middle of a safari where there are lions and cheetahs and hyenas somewhere.
Somewhere lurking in the distance, just watching on us as prey. But yeah, to be fair, it would have been like the ultimate sedan commercial.
all the time where every time we had to push start, the engine just sounded unhealthy. It sounded it was dying. All the time when we're getting attacked by these weird, disgusting flies.
So we have what are they called, bottle flies over here? Like just your normal average flies that land on poo basically. So over there, the flies bite. So we wind down the windows
because it's boiling.
Because
of course.
it's absolutely hot. It's 35 degrees in the middle of a safari, and and then all of a sudden a massive swarm of flies just come racing into the windows, and we're just there swatting them away as they're biting us, and we're just there panicking what the hell is this? I would have preferred mosquitoes. Actually, I wouldn't have preferred mosquitoes, but yeah, it was absolutely intense. And
so we're there just mass killing flies, left, right and centre.
Yeah.
Our driver, the guide that they sent with us, me, Reece and Dennis / Titus, were just there killing flies left, right and centre, trying to squash them. Because they were always just biting us left, right and centre.
Yeah, honestly. And then at the same time, you've got monkeys around, and baboons just there, looking, laughing as well as they see us panic.
Our tiny little sedan, the weirdest safari trip we've ever been on, and it's just the car was just getting absolutely destroyed. It's getting scraped. When you scrape the car in this country, you're thinking, oh, this is going to be expensive to fix. It's going to be horrible. And the driver's just there, just fully oh, I'm just glad to see elephants.
I saw elephants, yes. I saw a baboon. That was nice. But yeah, he's just smiling. And then as we get out of the safari park now, we go to the mechanic. And turns out that the repairs were only the equivalent of something stupid like £50, probably even less than that.
No. I would say closer to £5. I don't really understand how cheap it was. The guy literally just rolled himself underneath the car, spent about an hour just sewing it back together, whilst we were exploring the one-day city, and then the car was just good.
Absolutely fine. And then we moved another 4 hours towards the safari lodge, and then we were all good, which was surprising. And obviously we gave the driver a hefty tip because he went through the wars of being with us, to be honest.
Yeah, he put his car, which is his
His
life force,
literally
in danger to drive through. Which again, we didn't mean for that to happen.
No,
But
of course not.
it was good. But to be fair, we had to push start a tiny sedan in the middle of safari, 4 meters away from hippos, the greatest animal killer, bar the mosquito.
Yes. Fun fact also, hippos run at 50 miles an hour.
50 miles an hour and kill more people than any other. And we were just had to push start because what we're gonna do, like not walk, walk in the middle of the safari. That sounds like a great idea. So we had to get that. We just got it done.
Amazing idea, to be honest.
But it was honestly amazing. Like in your Malawi. Go on a trip. Get there early. Make sure that you have an actual Jeep because
after hearing this experience, you definitely know.
You can imagine it. But we got
insect repellent is your best friend, 100%. Like, the sort of annoying thing about it is you hardly got bitten by mosquitoes.
Oh, this is the funny thing. I've been to Jamaica 3 times where mosquitoes absolutely love me and they bite me left, right, and centre. For some reason, just in Malawi, they just weren't interested in me.
Not at all.
However,
I got munched heavily. They snacked on me well. It was horrible. And I think, but that wasn't the main parasite or a bug I was worrying about. I think one of the main bugs I was worrying about was it bilharzia? Is that how you pronounce it? Bilharzia. So, alright, you're the intellectual here. Go on, explain to them.
Okay, so bilharzia is a parasite that infects freshwater snails. Like, we lived on the bank of Lake Malawi, we swam in it every day, but it's kind of a weird concept that it's a freshwater sea.
Yeah.
To make sense. And during the winter, the lake is like a sea. It just has its tides and it grows. But during the summer, it is completely stagnated. And if you swim in it, you will almost guaranteed get this thing called bilharzia, which is this tiny parasite that enters through your skin and will essentially grow in your kidneys and shut them down.
Yes.
And we were terrified of this. Not to mention the fact as well that we were swimming where there were crocodiles.
And there's been known crocodile attacks as
and
well.
There were crocodile deaths when we were there.
But you gotta take risks in life.
But bilharzia is just a disgusting idea. So I fully panicked when I got back and got myself tested for parasites just in case. Cause
it's kind of funny how you managed to get tested. I went to my local GP. They were like, no, unless you've got any symptoms, you can't get tested, which I find hilarious and ridiculous. But NHS for you.
Oh, I had the symptoms, which I eventually found out was just lactose intolerance. but it got me checked. But it got me checked for parasites nonetheless. So hooray for that at least. But
pretty much. Yeah,
but it was a fun thing. To be fair, we stayed in this tiny hotel. It was just me and Reece on a beautiful beach for a very long time.
Very long time.
But the only company you had, the only people that eat with us is the various Christian missionaries that are everywhere. And honestly, we met this elderly couple called John and Rona, which, if you're somehow listening, thank you. Talking to you was honestly inspiring.
It was an experience, honestly.
Like-
You guys said a lot to us. You guys, sharing your experience in general, like, meant a lot to us, and it really made us like look within and just like appreciate the trip even more. To be honest. So yes, thank you very much, John and Rona.
Like listening to people who they're there and they're Christian missionaries, and I have going to a Christian secondary school where they just shove religion down your throat and are so hateful as a honesty. Which you people that view religion as a relationship and are not judgmental and just want to take care and look after people.
Exactly, yeah.
It's inspiring, and these people work in South Africa in like age inappropriate schools, which people don't understand. It's for children and young adults who did not have a proper education, so they're essentially learning at like a reception level. These people founded this school for age inappropriate people, which is like heroic, to be honest.
Absolutely heroic.
Credit to them. And we honestly had dinner with them so many times, and they honestly like opened my eyes to new experience one. And I was really, really grateful to have them and also there was no one else.
Yeah. Absolutely no one else.
There was no one.
The odd characters, you know.
There was the odd characters.
There were those two young people who the medical student who was what was she doing, an internship or something in Malawi?
Yeah, which her experience sounded mad. She was dealing with like births and stuff over there, like children
with no
being
sanitation.
Born. No sanitation, no anesthesia, no nothing, and she was being a nurse. Meanwhile, her boyfriend was just chilling there.
Yeah, he was jogging on the beach.
He was just jogging and whatnot. And that was the only experience. We had the young couple, we had John and Rona, which also, Rona.
Yeah, exactly. Hasn't aged well.
That name has not aged well at all with Rona. Anyway, we had the young couple, we had John and Rona, and we had Karonga. That was the only people we encountered in our time there. And it was a nice one, people. But
and we also near to the end as well. We also had those that engineer and the doctor who taught us how to play bow.
Oh, bow! Which, by the way, chess is awful.
Brilliant way to start.
Chess is an awful game.
Terrible.
It's really boring. Bow, however, is a Malawi game, and
the equivalent of chess, basically.
And it is really fun. I really recommend if you learn how to play it. And we were taught there was this doctor from Malawi and his driver, and the doctor was entertaining two Indian businessmen. Mm-hmm. His driver taught us to play bow, and it was really, really fun. I really, really liked it.
Incredible experience to me.
I hated the doctor, to be honest, because he was the only way I can describe it is I don't like this term, but he was a ghetto snob. He was there, someone from Malawi who had made it in the business world and had a good life. And what did he do? Instead of trying to feed back to his country, he spent the entire time, from what I can tell, just shitting on the people, calling them stupid, calling them idiots, calling them
ignorant.
You think someone who's had such who understands the difficulty of life there would have some understanding.
No, of course, but he didn't at all. It's almost like he didn't appreciate where you came from, and it's just he was solely focused on his own path and his own selfish needs, basically. So he didn't really want to see his community and his upbringing, which was quite sad. Nonetheless,
his driver.
Absolute he is
legend.
why we're here.
He taught us to play bow, which again, bow is an amazing sport. It's kind of like the thing about being in Malawi is bow is kind of like when you play a video game. And you can challenge random people to the game, in the video game or whatnot.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing: when it comes to bow, everyone plays. I played against shopkeepers. I played against teachers. I played against doctors. I decided to play the guy who founded the school, And then, like, about an hour later, a guy would show up with his own set and be like, he spoke no English, and this teacher never spoke to us whatsoever. But he just came up to us and was like, I'm good at bow, I'm very good at bow, bow. And I played him, and he was very good at bow.
He was good.
I can't knock it.
He
Anyway,
beat you within like 10 moves, I'll tell you that.
if you get a chance, it's a really, really fun game. And I think, Dom, we've turned it into a drinking game, of course, recently.
A very savage drinking game.
A very savage,
Very savage
a very savage drinking game, which I've got Malawi experience, so Dom often gets pretty messy.
Very drunk.
He often gets very drunk in it, but I fully, absolutely recommend that he played that. But then it came to, so we spent the whole time working in a school, which I feel like we haven't actually spoken that much about, because what is it to say? It was fun, it was inspiring, we taught, what was it, Standard 7?
Standard 7, which is the equivalent of like year 6, basically.
But you also got to realise where this is year 6, but unlike in English schools, where once you finish the year, no matter what your ability is, you graduate and you go up to year 7. That's not how they do things in Malawi. If you don't graduate, you do it over and over again. And it broke my heart that there was an 18-year-old who was only a couple years younger than us.
Yeah.
Only a couple
In
years
year
younger than us
6.
in year 6 in our class. And I give him absolute credit for keep on going.
He's powering through, honestly.
Because he's on his like 6th retake that he's there. And if you
Yeah.
fed him, he had apparently some medical condition that meant that he missed a lot of school when he was younger.
Yeah.
But he was there with like 11, 12-year-olds trying to learn and whatnot.
Yeah. And the thing is, he bonded well. And even more, like, to add on to that, we actually found out that he was 18, probably like later on within our trip. When one of the teachers told us, and we were like, what? And when you look at this guy, he doesn't, maybe because he blends in so well with
And
all the
also,
other children as well.
because of his medical issues, I feel like he is quite
Oh,
short,
yes, of course. It has
Naturally.
stunted his growth.
which is a bit sad. But
Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
but what can we do? Anyway, so we're getting to the end of our journey and whatnot.
Mhm.
And this is where our the romantic idea of a trip to Africa where you help work out in this school kind of comes crashing down, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because we went to work in this school, and don't get me wrong, every teacher that we worked, there's an elderly man called Mr. Nachito, who is 76, who is the head teacher of the school, and he's trying so hard, doing everything right. There was Mr. Malakula, who was like a mentor to me when I was there. He was amazing. There was Mr. Nazamaru, who was the bow playing guy. These are
And he
all...
taught he taught the year 1, standard 1s and standard 1 and 2. So he was like more known for teaching the younger kids.
There was a young lady called Edith who honestly was one of the most dedicated teachers I have ever met. She worked so hard.
And she was so young as well. She was 23, I remember.
Yeah, and
so young.
They were all incredible. The school was amazing.
But
then there was the guy in charge, who was initially the person who essentially contracted us to go over there.
So he's essentially would you say not the president, but like the owner of the school. Basically. He was the
director.
The director
was the term he gave himself. Which
yes.
We had met this man many times. He came and walked us home, and he was lovely. Yeah, I remember at one point, because we went over to Malawi, in which me and Reece spent 31 days with each other. Mm-hmm. Which is, despite the fact that I don't think we've argued much in our friendship.
Hardly at all, right?
Hardly at all. But when you spend 31 days mainly with another person, you're going to have an argument eventually.
There's going to be some sort of disagreement, even if it's over the smallest thing.
Smallest thing. And I remember, what was it? What was the...
So it was something stupid over, I don't know, a football. As per usual, it all starts with bants. I don't know, I kicked a football into a river and I refused to get it, as a joke.
Yeah, I had a football in my hand and he knocked it into a tiny little stream and I refused to get it. And we had a huge argument, so we went to work, did our job at the school, and then I went and I hung out at a different hotel just because I was thinking...
The hotel next door, which had nicer food, to be honest.
Yeah, it did have
Much
nicer
food.
Which I was thinking, you know what, fuck Reece. Fuck my only friend I have in this country. I don't really want to deal with him. Anyway, whilst I was at this other hotel, I met a waiter who used to work at this school. He was very hesitant to talk to me about this school, but I kept on digging. I kept on asking him questions, and eventually, he revealed to me that the school has some real problems with corruption.
Massive.
Well, specifically, I mean the guy in charge has some real problems with corruption, which is a guy that we've met most days. He seemed absolutely lovely, so I, of course, took this with a grain of salt. I didn't fully believe it. But he was telling me about how, firstly, the school was founded by a guy who owned basically everything there. He was like
pretty much the whole village.
He was a poor man who owned like a string of hotels. He owned most of the land. He owned most of the schools, and he had done everything. He's done so much to elevate in Kota as a whole.
Yeah, he was a serial investor, like call him that basically. My guy literally bought out the whole of Nkota, investing into the land, of course, and to give others better opportunities. I think that was his main goal.
And fair play to him. He has done a great job.
Amazing
this
job.
place. Without him, there would be no tourism. There would be no primary schools. He got it all done.
Yeah.
By himself.
I mean, there are people living in the hotels right now who've been living there for like 5 years. So like that's another source of income for the village itself. So yeah.
But anyway, I'm talking to this waiter, and he's saying that this guy went and lived on islands for his retirement called Lacoma Island, which is like an island in between Malawi and Mozambique, which somehow, despite being right next to Mozambique, belongs to Malawi. But whatever. Yeah. We spent the entire month sitting on the beach looking at Mozambique, just never able to visit there. I've never spent so long looking at a place, never being able to go there. It was really frustrating, but like, even though the lake makes it look like it would take us a couple of hours, apparently it would take like 2 days.
Days. It literally looks like it's right next door.
Anyway, I'm talking to this waiter, and the waiter basically said about the founder of all of these schools and whatnot essentially thinks that it is a free school that is for the local people. The director in charge has secretly made it a private school and is taking all the money for himself. But this didn't gel with the person that I met. The person I met that was lovely and kind and
he's very open, very sweet. But the fact that these children are paying, how much are they paying? Like per term, they're paying.
I mean, it's like kind of it's only like $2 a month, which is not much to us. But you got to realize for them, that's everything.
That's exactly. So they're paying this money, and this money they're thinking it's going into their education. No, it's going straight into the director's pocket.
And he had the nicest house around. He had.
Oh yeah, and my man had a Toyota Prius.
He had.
He's living.
He had his nephew be one of the teachers, and which is kind of nepotism, but whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat. But again, we didn't really understand what was going on.
Yeah.
We met this guy, and he was lovely. He was nice. He was kind.
He was welcome and open, all of that.
For everyone they spoke to, we realized, like, they basically said in hushed tones, "Oh, you gotta understand, like, you're working at school, but that school is corrupt," and we didn't understand it.
At first, we didn't believe it, to be honest.
You know what? For 99% of the trip, we didn't believe it.
Nah, not at all. You wouldn't believe it if you were there. Everything just seemed so happy and amazing, like within the school, you know.
And then it came to our last day working at the primary school.
So, essentially, these guys had organised a surprise dinner for us, for all the help and support that we gave them, and it was a really nice surprise, to be honest. We saw like all the teachers there. There was the bar staff there who we were really close with, and so it came to actually sitting down and eating with them and dining. And we were having a nice chat, you know, about school, about exchanging life experiences, England and Malawi. It was a really decent time. Until the director of the school decided to interrupt, and then the way how he interrupted was the most ridiculous, most abrupt and rude way.
He fully slammed the table.
Yeah, my man slammed the table, and he was like, "Now we're going to talk about what I want to talk about." And he just started talking about his life experiences, being at the school, and all of that, which is absolutely crazy.
He spent the entire night emotionally abusing the female member of staff for specifically being a woman. I don't know how else to describe it.
That's the best way to describe it, to be honest. Like, it was horrible,
It
right
was
in
horrible.
front of her.
Like,
and she has no excuse, but like she was taking
this is a
all
woman
that.
who works for a pittance to try and educate the kids and does an amazing job at it. And he's fully there just shitting on her for nothing.
Yeah.
For absolutely nothing. He's there being horrible to her. And he's there getting quite drunk and quite nasty. And I eventually realised we're seeing the monster that people are describing coming through.
That's when the cookie crumbled.
We're seeing the narcissist who has made a school come up purely for his own vanity.
Which was very disgusting. And it just got worse and worse and worse until eventually it got to the end, where we sort of managed to bring the conversation back to like happy times and stuff like that, good old band. And then out of nowhere, he decides to end the whole conversation and end the whole outing and sends everyone home like they're school children. Out of nowhere.
He fully decides that because he's going home, every member of staff, the people that we've known for a month, people that we've hung out with and enjoyed and we were having a lovely time with, they must leave because he is leaving.
Follow the leader, literally.
And it was horrible because we really wanted to say goodbye. We wanted to have a nice goodbye. And
It's the final day.
if he had said, I'm tired and I'm going home, sure, we would just hang out with them people. But it was, I'm tired and all of my employees must go home. I'd be like, what?
I don't think it works like that.
But apparently in Malawi, it works like that.
Yeah, apparently so. So yeah, that was the last time we saw the teachers. It was nice seeing them, to be honest. And
it was nice at least because at least after they left, we got drunk with the bar stuff, which was I got drunk. We don't really drink. But it was a lovely experience for them at least, and we played bow and we had fun and we enjoyed them and whatnot. And we got going. We met our taxi driver Clifton from there. Yes. We listened to another 4.5 hours of DMX. We spent 4.5 hours going, X, go on, give it to you. Go on, give it to you. Again. But to be fair, our journey back was way weirder than our journey there.
Oh, 100%. Like, even halfway through the journey, I remember, like, you literally pointed to me, you was like, bro, look at that. And I was like, what are you talking about? So I look to the right now. Huge fires. Massive fires everywhere towards the right. Like, literally.
As we're driving the long way, it was fields of fire left, right and centre. Huge fires.
Huge.
Entire, hundreds of fields of crops just going up in flames as we're driving there. It was, because people in Malawi occasionally like to build fires.
Yeah, so over here.
For reasons?
For fun, basically. Like, over here we play PlayStation for fun or whatever. Like, over there they build fires for fun.
But it was one of those perfect days where it was just warm enough and just slightly windy.
Yeah.
And we saw thousands of, like, meals worth of food just burning as we went back to the long way.
And homes and villages.
It
like,
was,
and apparently that's the norm. Well, not the norm, but that happens quite often.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes, yeah. So, yeah. That was an interesting send-off.
That was an interesting send-off. So we go back to, we stay in a hotel in Lilongwe, which was pretty nice. It was my birthday the next day, so I decided to go to Lilongwe National, like a national animal rescue thing where they had like crocodiles and monkeys and all the animals that they treat pretty horribly. So I decided to go to there and see what's going on. And as we're there, me and Reece are told that we're not allowed to leave because there's a mass political demonstration where there were tens of thousands of people outside their thing protesting the corrupt government, which apparently they had Tipex over votes and shit to make sure that the current party politician had kept in.
Democracy.
Exactly.
But I had
At
a
its
nice,
finest.
but I had a nice steak and enjoyed my birthday regardless.
Yes, I had a nice salad.
But it was pretty mad.
It was pretty mad, really
and
mad.
honestly, at this point, I was, despite loving going there, very ready to go home.
100%. Oh,
very ready to go home, to be honest. But
and the hotel we stayed in Lilongwe was very nice as well. Like the area in which we were in was kind of like a different side to Malawi, which we saw. Like we were next to politicians' mansions and houses.
it was like it's a little taste of Western in the middle of absolute in Malawi, which is kind of crazy. They had a Spur and they had a McDonald's and KFC.
Do they even have Spur in England?
They used to, and it was my favourite thing, so I was very excited. So I had my second steak of the day there because I could.
Because why not? And it's in Spur as well, reminiscent.
But it was lovely. I really enjoyed it. But the very next day, very excited to go back. Sure, we have to hang out in Congo and Ethiopia. But I, despite absolutely loving our trip, I was glad it was at an end.
Yeah, 100%. I think a month was a very, very good amount of time, to be honest.
But
And I'm not gonna lie, we did a lot in a month.
we did an awful lot.
a lot in a month.
But that was our trip to Malawi, I think.
Yeah, this next. Well, I mean, if Corona wasn't a thing.
Yeah, we might go again. Probably to the same school because I don't ever want to meet that guy again.
Definitely not.
Personally. But yeah, that is I think our trip to Malawi, and I think that's probably the end of the podcast, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty much.
And this is the point where we say if you guys want to come hang out with us, please feel free to. You can go to facebook.com/the RobRantPod. That's RobRantPod. Or you can go to twitter.com/RobRantPod or Patreon/RobRantPodcast. We are also very excited on Patreon to have our new tiers, which me and Reece just auto-generated some amazing names for them. So we have what's our £5 tier, which is the Lawyer of Shed tier. We have our £10 tier, if you want to support us, is a Rancid Teddy tier. And finally, for our £20 a month VIP tier is the Coffin Dancer tier. So if you feel like supporting us, we'd love to hang out with you. Even if you don't want to support us and you want to contact us, please feel free to meet us on social media. We'd love to get to know you. We'd love for this to
be a thing, just to get to know you, like share stories, perhaps even get you guys on the podcast and just share your experience live.
Exactly. If you want to give us ideas of what to talk about, come hang out with us. Because
100%.
this I want this to be more than just us, like, talking in a room.
Ranting. pretty much, yeah. Definitely. Also, whilst we're here, big shout out to Frankie Parham.
Frankie Parham, graphic
Big
designer.
shout out.
She's the lady who made our amazing banner. So if you want to find her out, please go to cargocollective.com/Frankie Parham. There will be some notes in the show notes where you can go find her. Also to the guy who made our logo, who is my half brother, which if you want to find him, just Google The Real Nari and you will find him. He is an also amazing graphic designer. Aren't we so lucky to have people supporting us? We have a bigger shout out to our editor, Rosie Boxall, which credit to her as well. She's doing this and she's fully supported us. And the whole team, really.
The whole team, yeah. And we have obviously Dom here.
Dom here.
Dom and Dom.
Do you want to talk for the third time this podcast, Dom?
No.
Like I say, Dom is a shy individual. He's just happy to be part of the process.
We're grateful for him, though.
To our head of marketing, Laban, who you will meet, I'm sure, on the podcast soon because he is a legend and I absolutely love him. And yeah, I think that's us done.
That's pretty much it, to be honest. It's been a long one, but it's been a good one.
It's been a good one. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to us. We will talk to you soon.
Peace. Take care, guys.
Out.